Community Viewpoint with John Pawlak and Maria Hurst.
And welcome once again to Community Viewpoint. And once again, I'm your host. I tricked you last week. We had Maria come in for both segments, so thank you for Maria for giving me a break last week. So I would like to introduce someone today that he is going to be speaking about a group of people which I was involved with for 6 years. It's called the Nevada Site-Specific Advisory Board, and it used to be called the Citizens Advisory Board for Nevada Test Site Program, something like that. I'm forgetting it because it's been a few years. But Bill Wilborn is the Underground Test Area Activity Lead for Department of DOE Office of Energy Environmental Management, Nevada Field Office. There's just too many letters, too many words, too many acronyms. So welcome, Bill.
Thank you.
And tell us about the open house that you're going to have about issues dealing with groundwater, and that's going to be up in Beatty?
It's going to be in Beatty, that's correct.
So tell us a little bit about that.
One of the things that we started a few years ago was groundwater open houses. And the reason behind that was to get, some of the information that we do in regards to our groundwater studies to the public. And so we go out to some of the rural communities and have these open houses. This one in particular we'll actually have in conjunction with the Nevada Site-Specific Advisory Board meeting. The NSAB is what we call it. And that'll take place right after the actual groundwater open house.
Mm-hmm. So
that'll be on February 18th in Beatty at the community center.
Right. So to let you know, I was actually on what was called the cab back then.
Right.
I still have my little plaque, okay? There's no nicks. I was very proud, so it's still in good shape. So
good.
You're on that for as a citizen volunteer for 6 years.
Yes.
And I served my time on planet Earth as the movie was, but it was a good time. I got to see a lot of the different areas that the Department of Energy is involved with throughout the United States, and it was a great education for the folks that are concerned about the area in which they live. So, and this is ongoing. So tell us a little bit more about the open house and what's happening, if you would.
Sure. Like I said, there's a few of them that we've had over the past few years. We usually have them annually. Sometime in the future, we may even have them twice a year. We're considering that at this point. But the groundwater open house specifically talks about groundwater issues at the Nevada Test, formerly the Nevada Test Site, the Nevada National Security Site. And you'll get a chance at this open house to actually speak with some of the people that conduct the work for the Department of Energy. And what I mean by that is these are the scientists that do the groundwater modeling, do the different technical studies for us that go into those models. They'll have representation there, individual representation and with different posters and different information that people can ask questions and interact with them. Mm-hmm. So if you have an interest in the groundwater, which I've been reading the paper, a lot of people do, you can come out and actually interact with those specific technical individuals.
Right. And I was on both ends of that in years past. And this is going to be in Beatty.
It's going to be in Beatty, yes.
And it's going to be, where is it at the Beatty Community Center?
Beatty Community Center.
Right. We had the flyer up there too, if you want to see that. And you will see these around town here in the next week or so. You'll find it at the courthouse, the library. I'll make sure I send somebody out to do that. And they'll be out here. And then you'll get the exposure here and hopefully on Channel 41, 46, and the regular newspapers too. So how many people are on the cab nowadays? The NSAB, it's called?
I don't know exactly. I think there's probably 15 to 20.
15?
Is that the number?
Yeah. But yeah, I remember we were out there and we had like 3 or 4 people from Nye County, and the rest were made up from basically Clark County. We had one individual from Alamo, all the way up in Alamo. Yeah. So you got to meet a lot of nice people, a lot of people that were concerned about the issues dealing with. Well, we had not only the underground test site, the water issues. We had low-level waste.
Correct.
And other things that dealt with environmental issues at the Nevada Test Site, as it was called back then. And we had some flyers, or the pictures. What else do we have up there? And which one is that there? That shows
This is a figure that's really just showing, it shows the Nevada National Security Site. That's what you see in sort of the brownish yellow color there. That's the outline of it. The blue arrows, what you're seeing is the groundwater flow directions for the regional aquifer system that's below the site itself, which is similar to what you have in Pahrump Valley too. There's a regional, it's part of our regional groundwater modeling that we do. We include areas around the site. We also include the Pahrump Valley and so all the way down to Death Valley.
Exactly.
But what you're seeing there is just kind of giving an indication of the different basins and also the major groundwater flow directions around the site.
And that has no way, shape, or form anything to do with our groundwater here. The flow goes in a different direction.
The flow does go in a different direction. Off the site, it's mainly to the southwest. You guys get a lot of recharge. Most of your recharge, all of your recharge is from the Spring Mountains themselves,
yes.
Which then flows towards the Death Valley area.
Right.
This sort of bypasses you and flows towards Death Valley. Yeah.
But this is something of a concern for us because there's been a lot of misinformation, not only for the NNSS or the NTS, but Yucca Mountain when that was up and running also.
Right.
People were afraid of the groundwater flowing down here, and there was a lot of misinformation for whether it be buying new houses from the realtors and where the water actually came from. So this is very important to know where the water is coming from. And it's from multiple departments, different groups of people that have done the investigation, not only from the Nevada test site itself, but you have what's called the Desert Research Institute.
Yeah, Desert Research Institute.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest research groups in the world. They go all over the United States and in the world, basically, and do sampling of water, air, and other things too.
Right.
And if you saw, you guys are talking about the community environmental monitoring stations also that ring the Nevada test site, or NNSS as it's called now, and they monitor anything basically above the ground. So if you go to CEMP, if you just type that in capital letters, that'll come up and you can find the temperature and barometric pressure and things like that. So there's a lot of information from government agencies that you're directly or indirectly involved with that can make you feel safe if you know where to look for these items.
Right.
So what else is happening up there too? They're having their annual meeting up there too, you said?
Well, the Groundwater Open House annual meeting. We'll talk a little bit about CEMP there, the Community Environmental Monitoring Program that you just mentioned. That'll be there'll be a poster on that, and there'll be discussion from Desert Research Institute individuals there, so people can get involved in that or learn how people get involved in that. And it's not just the area right around the site; it's also different states. You know, Utah, mainly Utah and Nevada, but it'll give people hopefully the message that there's a lot of information to learn from how we not only monitor from past testing, but the studies that are going on about some of the past impacts to the groundwater and how we're addressing those. And how the community can get involved. The NSAB, the Nevada Site-Specific Advisory Board, is one way, and certainly people can put in to join that and certainly learn more information and go to the public meetings and ask questions. And we encourage that, and that's one of the things with the Groundwater Open House too, is we want to be as open to the public as we can about some of the issues they have concerns about. And
Beatty is one of the critical areas because it is southwest of the Nevada test site, or NNSS. So it's great. We've had, when I was on it's called a CAB back then, a lot of meetings were held up there, and we've had, I think it was the beginning of these meetings, to explain to the public where the radioactive nuclei might be coming, but definitely wasn't coming. Right. And there are so many test wells that are up there on the site to monitor if there's any radionuclide coming off-site too. So it's been tested, retested, and there's monitoring that's going on forever. So if you want to find out who's doing it, when they're doing it, and where the wells are, going to this open house would be something that you should do, and that's happening, when was that again?
February 18th
There it is. It's in
Yes. The open house begins at 4 o'clock.
red. Yes.
And then the actual site-specific advisory board meeting begins at 6 o'clock.
There was the other flyer that I had up there. What was the other picture we haven't showed yet? What did I miss? Those are some of the
Okay.
wells?
Yeah, this is actually, you saw the figure before, which had the outline of the national security site. This is sort of the western edge of that, a little larger. So you're looking to the top part of that figure. The most northern part is what we call central and western Paiute Mesa. The colored dots of what you're seeing are locations of wells that we have. These are characterization wells. We use the data from those wells in our models. And they'll also end up at some point, as some of them are right now, but in long-term monitoring wells. And the colors, I don't want to go through a lot, but a lot of the colors are trying to depict what levels of tritium maybe we found at some of those locations.
Right, tritium is the marker to tell you if
Right.
there is anything moving off-site. And so those and, gosh, there's so many different web pages and pictures and information up there that there's no reason for you not to know what's happening. You know,
Yes.
it's there, and it's for everyone. There's a great deal of transparency. I found that out. I took the time for 6 years, and I have the plaque to show that too.
Yeah.
But you live here, you should find out about the Manatee because it's so much. It's so important because it's part of the history here, the Cold War history, and there's a after effect after that. So it would behoove us to know about what's happening down north of us at the NNSS. And they have tours for the site also.
They do. They have tours that they offer on a regular basis, but also we have offered specific tours.
Special tours, yes.
Right, to go to different environmental management sites, the sites that environmental management works on, including the groundwater sites. You can go visit some of the well sites and get more information about those sites and see the site itself, it can be quite spectacular to see the vastness of the site and sort of all the work that's going on out there.
Right, I've done that many times, and it's very awesome to see the Nevada Test Site, or NNSS. I'll never get used to that. So if you go online to the Department of Energy, Nevada Test Site, or NNSS, you'll be able to, or if you type it into Google, you'll be able to find it for test site tours. And they happen once a month. A lot of times they're booked well in advance, or if you have enough people in your area, you can get a bus to meet you at the gate over at Mercury. See, I retained some of those items.
Right,
So
right.
we're almost out of time. Thank you very much for stopping
absolutely.
by. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we'll see you at the Beatty Open House.
Good.
Thank you.
Hope to see everybody.